I'm done
But yeah,
talking about former Patriots. Let's talk about the Patriots now. Um, Hell of an overall team win.
Mm.
45 nothing. Big egg on the board for the Los Angeles. I almost said San Diego. Los Angeles Chargers this past week. I want to know what are your biggest takeaways from this game? And I know Jordan has a whole simulation set up, not created by him. I wish he created it. I would
You didn't
give
have to reveal
massive
that,
props
but
to
all
him.
right.
you
I
want me
guess
to go, Jordan, or you want to go? Why
I'll
don't
go.
you
I'll
go?
go. Biggest takeaways. Oof. I think it's got to be the defense. It's kind of an obvious one, but we always, the notion that Belichick always shuts down the rookies and blah blah blah. But Herbert was on a tear recently. I mean, I think it was something like six or seven games with 3+ touchdowns, 250+ yards. I mean, to shut him down and not have him score a point, that shows there that our defense is still, when we play, once again, when we're on the defensive end. And then I think the other takeaway has got to be the ability for Cam to not. If you look at his passing stats, it's evident that like he's not a passing quarterback. Everyone knows that. Yeah, Pat's got it right on point. But
I want to hit the timeout button here real quick because I was doing prep for this, right? And I'm writing down Newton's stats. Never mind. I'm reading his rushing stats because I saw 48 and I wrote rushing. I'm an idiot. Keep going. I apologize.
you're good. You're good. I would say that generally, if you watch the game, you would say Newton 9 out of 10 times made the right play, made the right read. That's always the question with him. I feel like it's whether he can, on those third downs when he needs to make that pass, can he make that pass? On the third and shorts, can he go and get the runs? And one thing we saw that we talked about last week, that he wasn't running a lot. We saw a lot more runs from Newton this week, which turned into a blowout win. Is that a coincidence? I don't think so. I think it's literally that if you run through Cam Newton and Damian Harris with Sony Michel in there, who actually didn't look too bad, broke off for a couple decent runs, and you kind of let your receivers sit back, and then when you need to pass, you pass, make them stop that run before you transition to just airing it out. I think in some of the games we played, like against the Texans, we talked about only running the ball like 16 or 17 times
11 times with
combined,
Harris.
11 times with Harris. Yeah. I mean, you should be pushing 30 with Newton, Harris, and Michelle. And, I think this emphasizes that we need to play the run game similar to how the Ravens do. Lamar and Cam are comparable in many ways, where their greatest attribute is certainly not passing it. But they're both big playmakers. And, I would say the defense is a huge takeaway, that it's still up there, atop the league, and the emphasis on the running game that needs to continue against the Rams.
Yeah, I want to give major credit to the defense and special teams over the past maybe 3 or 4 weeks. I mean, they've really flipped the switch. They've been amazing. They've shown flashes of last year's defense, which was incredible. It was really historic, at least the first 8 games of the season. But in regards to Cam, I don't know. It's it's an interesting case. We were talking about earlier in the year this new Patriots offense geared around the run, and then with the emergence of Damian Harris, that's really become a reality. There are games like Houston where we really should have run the ball more. There have been times where Cam Newton's cost us, maybe even cost us games. Look at Denver, you look at Buffalo. But, this team's kind of in what I like to look at as like a transition year, and I think it's good kind of that you have Cam Newton here, almost like experiment and kind of see what this team can do. I mean, the defense has been great. Belichick's, I think, done a lot with the personnel that he's had at hand. Considering our cap issues, we couldn't really do a whole lot, but I think Cam gets a little too much flack from me, even personally. I've been pretty hard on him myself. It's pretty easy when you're used to Tom Brady. But, I think the team's kind of rallying around him right now. Hopefully to make a push for the playoffs. And we've gotten some gutsy wins over some good teams. You look at Arizona, you look at Seattle. We almost beat them. We beat the Raiders, who have been pretty good this year. You completely shut out the Chargers, one of the hottest offenses in the whole entire league.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things to be happy about this year. And for a lot of people who are looking at the season as a lost season, we got a little hope to get into the playoffs. Hopefully they can. I'm kind of rambling at this point, but.
And before you go, Anthony, one thing you mentioned, Pat, is like the unwarranted hate on Newton, and we have a lot of people in Ride the Wave that hate on him definitely a little too much. But it's interesting to me, the argument last year with Brady not performing that well. Now, he was not bad, but he wasn't Cam Newton bad this year, but in terms of passing. But it was always, look at the talent around him. He doesn't have anyone. He's got Michelle, who's banged up, who isn't performing well, a banged up O-line, and a shitty receiving core. This year, if you look at Cam Newton, he has the same receiving core theoretically as Brady had, but he doesn't have Edelman anymore, and he also doesn't have Sanu. Now he does have Damian Harris. He's gotten, that run game has helped him tremendously. But why is there no argument there? Why is the argument not the same as it was last year? Cam Newton is a worse quarterback than Tom Brady, without a doubt. So why is he not getting the benefit of the doubt to say, look, he doesn't have a good offense around him? Is he playing great? No. But did Brady play great last year? No. But the blame wasn't on him. It was on N'Keal Harry. It was on Michelle. It was on the O-line. This year, it's all on Cam Newton, which I don't get.
Yeah, and I honestly am not the biggest fan of Cam Newton. I wish he could throw the ball a little better because that's what we're so used to seeing. My thing I wanted to touch on with this offense is they did this. They did this whole 45-0 thing. Jared Stidham having to go in and throw a touchdown because it was that much of a blowout. They said, screw it, throw in the backups. This Chargers defense is no slouch. I think they're ranked number 12 in the league. They're in the upper half, just outside of the top 10 in terms of overall defenses. They did this against them, and that's just absolutely crazy. And you mentioned Herbert's streak of 250+ yard games. We held him to 209 yards. And 2 picks, one of them coming from my guy Chase Winovich. Please come on the pod. But you gotta also not tip your hat to special teams. I mean, Gunnar Olszewski, I think that was kind of karma from the Arizona game because that was not an illegal block in the back. So I think that was a simple case of the ball doesn't lie. He had that punt return 2 weeks ago, so they said, screw it, give it to him this week. And obviously Devin McCourty's I don't think he blocked it. I forget who blocked it, but he took the block.
That was a perfect bounce into his hands.
Oh yeah, and that's just the special teams that we train to play. So I know I really should have made this Pat segment, Pat's Patriots path to the playoffs. Pat's Patriots. Try saying that fast 5 times. Pat's Patriots path to the playoffs. But Jordan found a really cool little thing, so I'm gonna hand it over to him real quick, just so he can run through the little simulations he's got pulled up.
Yeah, it's really complicated. So there's a lot of different things you can do. It's New York Times. It's literally the title of it is How the New England Patriots Can Make the Playoffs. I think they have this for every team. Yeah, they have it for every team. So it's kind of cool. They have every game from here on out. You can select who wins which game. It shows you which ones actually have implications and matter. But just theoretically, because the Ravens winning against the Cowboys last night was pretty big, because I believe our percentage would have jumped from 16 to 40, making the playoffs. It's staying now at 16. Now it can jump up with a win against the Rams, just a straight win against the Rams, and we jump up to around a 30% chance to make the playoffs, just to win against the Rams. That's with nothing else happening. If we win out, we close in near 95% to make it. Then you get into all the back and forth between who you want to win, who you want to lose. But generally, if you just focus on this week, if we can just beat the Rams and we can get the Chiefs beat the Dolphins, which should happen, if we can get an upset with Colts Raiders really doesn't matter. Let's say the Raiders take that one, and then we go and the Browns can get an upset on the Ravens. In addition to where's the Dolphins game? Oh, in addition to the Steelers beating the Bills, so we get Steelers, Raiders, Browns, and the Chiefs to win, and we take a win, we jump near 40% to make the playoffs, and that's without even calculating if we win the rest. If we win out, we need to win out. There's no. You have to win out. If you lose the game,
he's that good of a mathematician that he doesn't even have to calculate that.
It's all up here.
Jordan Paddock, the human calculator.
Human calculator.
We shouldn't have even mentioned that it was a website. We should have just been like, yeah, he did this all in his head.
You did.
Like,
Jordan,
28%. I'm
really.
just throwing percentages out, and people are like, "What the fuck?"
No,
But yeah,
but
if we win out, we sit at a very, very high chance to get in the playoffs. So that would mean like every other team would theoretically have to win out, which isn't going to happen. There's matchups where teams are going to have to lose. One of the teams we need to lose is going to lose. So the main focus needs to be on winning out. That's
paint the big picture for us this week, Jordan. Obviously the Pats have to win out.
Mm-hmm.
So Pats beat the Rams Thursday night.
Yeah.
Who are the Patriots fans rooting for, and the Patriots themselves rooting for this Sunday?
The main
Or
teams
Monday.
we're rooting for. I'll name every single one, even though some
go
of them
for it.
aren't. Yeah. Jaguars against the Titans. We want the Jaguars. Probably won't happen, but we're still rooting for them. Chiefs, Dolphins. 100% want the Chiefs. Raiders and Colts. It's a win-win. We benefit more from a Colts win. So we are rooting for the Colts because we have the Raiders tiebreaker. And then the final two games, the Steelers and the Bills, doesn't matter as much because it's more of a division implication. If you still want the division in play, the Steelers win would help because it would bring us closer. So we'd root for the Steelers there. And then the big one, Monday night, Browns-Ravens. We're rooting for the Browns. You can pretty much lock that first wild card up for the Browns, or at least one of them. And then it's a matter of who gets the last two. So the Browns have flipped from being like, we want them to lose to just beat any team that we need you that we're close to.
Mm-hmm.
So if the Browns beat the Ravens, we win, theoretical tie, we jump them. Raiders lose to the Colts, theoretical tie, we beat them because we have the tiebreaker on both of them, and then it sits with us, the Browns, one of the Colts or the Titans, and then the Dolphins. So it gets really close. This is a huge week. Because there's like four games where, with huge implications about whether if everything falls out of place and like the Ravens win, the Raiders win, somehow the Dolphins upset the Chiefs, it could get really bad. I mean, it could be like we would lose significant hope if this week doesn't fall at least some in our favor.
So yeah, you mentioned some of those games. Week 14, I think, is one of the most loaded weeks of. I mean, on paper, it's not all that loaded, but when it comes to playoff implication, there's a lot to look forward to this week. Obviously, I have the Patriots and the Rams down, Colts, Raiders, Steelers, Bills, Ravens, Browns. I also have the Vikings and the Bucks down. Bucks coming out of a bye. They've been in a little bit of a slump. Vikings looking to make a late playoff push. I think that one's going to be very interesting to see how this Tampa defense matches up against guys like Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen and that whole gang. And then another matchup, Cardinals-Giants. Going into the season, you think the Cardinals are supposed to blow this Giants team out of the water, but Giants defense looks good. Cardinals are in a little bit of a slump.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't be surprised if the Giants win. So
something
I'm gonna
interesting, Anthony. If I can just jump in for 1 second, because I know you mentioned the Vikings making a playoff push. Both the Giants and the Washington football team are only one game out of a wild card spot. If the Vikings lose and either of those teams win, they're in a virtual tie for that spot. And since one of them's going to get the 4th seed, whichever one wins the division, you can actually realistically see two NFC teams in the playoffs, which I think is hilarious. Just wanted to throw that in there. I think that'd be kind of cool if they both got in.
I would absolutely be rooting for Washington in the playoffs.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely be rooting for Washington.
I feel like they're like a really good quarterback away from actually being an elite team.
Absolutely. Yeah. Ron Rivera took the toxicity out of that team.
Mm-hmm.
You got to give him massive credit, and I think you should put him up on the ballot for Coach of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd agree. One thing before we get away from the Patriots, I was just going through like picking generally what you would assume what is going to happen for the next couple of weeks. If you're just picking like, if you were to just like, for example, in week 15, I have the Chargers upsetting the Raiders, Texans upsetting the Colts. It could happen. I mean, it's not guaranteed, but just if we look at how that pans out and we keep winning. In week 16, the Giants-Ravens game holds a ton of weight because at that point, if you have the Browns beating the Ravens this week and us in a theoretical tie, you need to gain that game on the Ravens. You can gain a game, you would knock them out because you would have the tiebreaker and you'd have a game on them already.
Right.
with 1 week to go. So just to put it in perspective, everything that happened without that game, 68% chance to win. The Giants take that game, we have an 88% chance to make it in the playoffs. So 20% swing just without one game. It's almost as important as if we were playing in it. It's literally the same
This is
kind of
actually
thing.
kind of fun.
Yeah.
I was
insane.
gonna turn to our last segment here, but I just want to throw one more thing out there. We're usually the top dogs in the AFC every year, or close to it. And I don't want to say this, but I'm gonna screw it. I'm gonna say it anyway.
Uh-oh.
This is actually kind of fun.
I knew you were going to say that.
Like mapping out. All right, we need this team to win, this team to win, and we're rooting. It's like we're gonna be Browns fans for a night on Monday night.
Yeah.
I mean, I think everybody has a little bit of Browns fan in them. Like
Yeah.
very deep down, I think even Steelers and Ravens fans have a little bit of Browns fan somewhere deep down in there, just because you feel so bad for them. Oh, look at the poor little Browns.
I gotta
And
agree.
now
It
that
is
they're
kind of fun, isn't it?
Now that they're this absolute beast of a team, we're gonna be Browns fans for a night. I think it's gonna be very fun, even with the Giants and the not the Giants and the Cardinals. Even the Giants and the Ravens in Week 16, if that has that much of weight. Never thought I'd be rooting for the Giants as much, but hell, it's going to be really fun, nonetheless. So, this is Pat's real segment, his Week 14 upset of the week. I don't know if I'm putting him on the spot here. I told him about this ahead of time. So, if you had time to think about this. So,
You kind of put me on the spot. I won't even lie. But luckily for you, I'm a master of improvisation and on-the-fly things like that. So,
oh yeah,
my upset of the week, believe it or not, Anthony, is going to be the Buffalo Bills. I don't really know what the line is for that game. I'm
I
assuming
think Buffalo's favored.
Are the Bills favored?
I think they're favored by 2.5. I think they're favored. The Bills, right?
Oh, they're playing the Steelers. Never mind.
They're playing the Steelers. They're favored by 2.5.
Really?
Damn. Okay, well then I'm gonna go with the Giants. I'm assuming that they're not favored against the Cardinals.
Let me just look because
Why don't you?
No
fact
way
check me
they're
real quick?
favored, dude. No way.
I could have sworn I saw them favored by a little bit.
No fucking way.
I forget what website I looked on. Hold on. It might have been CBS. I'm not really.
That's crazy.
Give me 1 second, folks at home.
Oh, no, the Giants are underdogs. Cool.
Giants are underdogs. Okay.
They are. Yeah, so Giants over the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals are kind of rearing. They kind of did a little earlier in the season too, but
yeah, Bills 2.5.
They're really not looking too hot. I got to go with the Giants. I think they look really good on defense. I think they might be able to shut Kyler Murray down and get a much needed win in order to gain traction in the NFC playoff race. If the Cardinals lose, I'm pretty sure they're pretty much out. It's kind of a must-win game for them as well.
I honestly haven't been looking at the NFC playoff picture as much as the AFC, but definitely one to watch there. I'll definitely be watching it.
One thing, there is a scenario where we can win the AFC East still.
Oh, jeez, I want to hear this one.
If the Bills lose to the Chiefs and the Dolphins, okay, in their last 4, and then we win out, which would mean we'd give the Bills another loss, and we give the Dolphins a loss. And then the Dolphins lose. Sorry, the Bills lose to the Steelers this week. The Dolphins lose to the Chiefs. And then the Dolphins beat the Bills, and we went out. Everyone would be tied at 6 wins, 10-6. It would then go to head-to-head, but obviously that you can't head-to-head like 3 teams. You know what I mean? So it then goes to division record, and we would have the better division record because we'd beaten the Dolphins. We'd have beaten the Dolphins twice, presumably beat the Jets twice, and then taken one against the Bills.
God, I hope so.
And I think when it comes to
lose to the Jets.
If it were to come down to a real division tiebreaker, it comes down to the last matchup, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
I think something like that. I may be wrong, but I feel like I heard that somewhere.
I feel like that makes sense, though.
We would own the tiebreaker for sure, though, because if it's not that, then it's definitely division record, and we would have. Because we would have beaten the Dolphins twice and beaten the Bills once. So I think we would have it anyway. But
5
that's
and 1 would probably do it, yeah.
If this comes down to, I worry about a Miami Miracle 2.0, where we play the Jets in Week 17.
Of that.
We play the Jets in Week 17, and we have it locked up for the playoffs, and we just choke it.
Well, it's like, remember last year we lost to the Dolphins Week 17?
Yeah, we lost our bye. Yeah.
Yeah, I was at that game, and I was just like, Devontae Parker was carving up. Like destroying Gilmore, and I was like,
and remember, guys, 2 years ago on this exact recording date was the Miami Miracle.
Yeah.
God, that's fucking horrible.
Terrible.
But that ended up just dropping Miami lower in the draft. We still won the Super Bowl. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
that was their
regular
Super Bowl.
season win all you want.
Belichick playing chess.
So if you guys don't have any other closing thoughts, we're going. This is one of the longer ones we've ever had.
Yeah.
So if you guys don't have any closing thoughts, then I'm gonna wrap it up right about now.
I have one.
This thing up.
Anthony, you're doing a great job today.
Yeah, good job,
Thank,
Anthony.
thank you.
Good.
I appreciate
Anthony
it.
planned this entire one out.
You did.
Yeah, I'm just I don't know why I'm into
Well,
this
I did
thing.
find the New York Times thing.
He did. I'll give him credit. No, what do you mean? What New York Times thing? That's all in your head.
Oh shit, you're right.
Cut it out.
Cut it.
So if that's all we got, we will definitely be seeing you guys next week. We're gonna do everything in our power to make that happen. We love doing this. We appreciate every single one of you guys for watching or listening, wherever you guys are watching or listening to this on. So yeah, that wraps it up. Hopefully we get a Browns win on Monday night, and hopefully we get a Patriots win Thursday night.
We're fans of a lot of teams this
We're
week.
fans of a lot of teams this week. I'm going to be buying a lot of jerseys.
Yeah.
All right,
Go
guys. We will
Jags.
see you next week.
Peace.
Peace.